hello to all my lovely Instagram followers, and I want to welcome you to another one of my Instagram lives. But this one today is not a Become Unstoppable, this is a Become Unstoppable testimonial. So I'm going to bring up a client of mine, so I'm not just bringing on my family just for the sake of it. Hopefully Marissa's going to come up for us. There she comes. Hello, darling. How are you? Is this not weird for you or what?
It is a little bit strange.
Josh has joined us.
Hi, Josh.
Hello. So, what I was just saying to people that I wanted to introduce you as you are my niece, and Marissa's just not here because she's my niece. She's here because she's a client of mine, and we've worked together, and thankfully, she's experienced some amazing results, which is why she's here, because she's going to share those experiences with you. So hi Marissa, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. So we worked together probably about 6 months ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
On your proper, what I would call deep dive session. And you came at the time with the presenting issue around relationships. Would you like to just give a brief overview of why you chose that as your subject that you wanted to look at and to understand a little bit more?
Yeah, so at the time, it was quite shortly after I'd just gone for a breakup. I wasn't expecting to go through. It was a really sad time, and I sort of didn't really know. I sort of wanted to understand why. Is there things that I know no one's perfect. I know that I needed to change things, and I wanted to, moving forward, make those changes in order to, in future relationships, friendships, family relationships, improve those and identify sort of where I was going wrong and do it for me, not for anybody else, because you can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself. And yeah, just going forward, I just wanted to make sure that I was making those changes within myself, so that I wasn't making the same mistakes I was previously, that was just reoccurring as a typical cycle, that was just this, it seemed to be the same thing over and over again. And yeah, going forward, I just wanted to make those changes to make positive things be positive rather than negative.
And and that's an amazing observation from yourself as well. And obviously we would have had sort of different conversations around it, and I think that's when I said to you, look, why don't we do one of these deep dive sessions for you, so that we can really uncover the root cause of what's going on for you, so that, as you said, that you don't keep having that repeating pattern. So we did, didn't we? And obviously we're not going to disclose the raw secrets of what came up for you, but you did come up with the belief that you wasn't good enough, didn't you?
Yeah, it was that reoccurring cycle was constantly, why, the question I kept asking myself, why am I not good enough to keep staying in these people's lives? Why do people keep leaving? And that's what I needed to identify. And again, as I say, you can't control other people, you can only control yourself. And I'm not perfect, and I know I needed to make changes within certain things, and I know now that it was previous triggers that were leading to those situations that I found myself in, unfortunately.
Yeah, and without going into detail of Marissa's personal stuff there, what she means there is, so in the therapy that I do, it is absolutely not talking therapy. We do not sit there and talk about the story for weeks, months and years. What we do is different. So I use hypnosis, which is just a deep form of meditational state. It's nothing to be worried about at all. It just relaxes your body and your mind. And that in turn allows us to tap into your subconscious brain. And that's where all the gold is stored. So that's where we keep all our memories, all our feelings, all our emotions. But what happens is, when we're roughly between the ages of 0 and 7, that's when we create our main belief system. But our brains are not developed enough to have logic. So when things happen in our lives, we create beliefs. Now, sometimes we create them ourselves. Sometimes we're taught those beliefs that, you should do this and you should behave like this. And we take that all on board. But what happens is, as we get older and older and older, when situations happen, like in Marissa's case with relationships, she had quite a long, steady stream of, shall we call, bad relationships, not relationships that really
not
weren't
healthy. Yeah.
yeah. And as a result of that, you start making wrong choices, don't you? And but it's no one's fault really, because it's happening in the subconscious mind, and we're not deliberately going out to sabotage ourselves. And that's really important to know, that it isn't our fault. But what we can do is understand how we're behaving, and then we can seek help to change it. And that's what we did with you, wasn't it? And
Yeah, absolutely.
what sort of things have been happening for you since we had the session?
So mainly I've had a big job change. I've now left, it was a very busy job. I didn't stop, just to better myself, better my family life for me and my daughter. Obviously Millie's at school, so I needed to be doing the school runs. I was very fortunate that my ex-partner did a hell of a lot for me in regards to picking her up from school and things like that. So I was very, very lucky to have that. But obviously when that separated, I really had to evaluate where I could make changes in order to make our life better and to make it easier for both of us. And so I went into my new job, and it's perfection. I can't describe to you how much I love it. And there was a bit of a stagnant issue in between one job and the other, and there was a point where I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, at the very present second, I was like, I'm jobless. I didn't know what to do. And I would say I probably had about a 24-hour crying, feeling sorry for myself, wanted to bury my head in the sand and the ground to swallow me up. And then I remember going to bed that night, and I was like laying there thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And I was like, do you know what? Get yourself out of this. Pick yourself up, girl. You've done it once before. Pick yourself up. And tomorrow you're going to do this, and this. And yeah, I listened to the recording again, actually. I actually went back to it because I figured that it's there. I might as well use it. If it helped me then, it's going to help me again. I felt like my brain just sort of, I'd say like a refresher course, if you like. It just sort of needed to be refreshed. And I listened to it that night. I fell asleep like I did I say I did it for 21 days last time. I actually did it for longer last time. This time I did only do it for the 21 because I felt like that's all I needed. Before, I felt like I needed that bit of extra time. And then, I got up the next morning, and the business that we're talking about, we did have to sort of put it on a bit of a standby. I did it with my ex-mother-in-law and my ex-sister-in-law, and our personal lives it was all too much for all of us. We had a new baby in the family, so obviously she took up a lot of time. We was all working full time and juggling the children, and we just sort of had to take a step back. So it went quite quiet. I was doing my level 3 childcare as well at the time, so it was all too much. So we decided to sort of take a break away from it, and obviously if we come back to it, we come back to it. And this next morning I woke up and I was like, right, we're going to do this. So I literally opened up my Etsy, and I opened it all back up. I organised my Etsy. I literally opened it all back up and renamed it. Unfortunately, I've not gone into it with my ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law for obvious reasons, which is quite sad because I feel like we did work really well as a team together. But hopefully in the future, maybe we can work together again, maybe. But who knows? But yeah, so I literally got up and I just got on with it. And even my mum was like, where is this positive energy gone? Like, negative Nelly's in the bin.
I spoke to you back probably Thursday of that week or something. I was going, I have the job going.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And I thought, but she was talking to me. She was so upbeat. She's, oh yeah, well, as you just described, I was like that Monday, but I decided I'm not having any of that. Mm-hmm. And then you started smashing out your business, didn't you? Then I started giving you stuff to help me with. And
walking my little mate Luther.
Because I went to Thailand, didn't I? So you come and help look after Luther.
I did.
And I was just so proud of you because, you had every right in that point to have really gone downhill, but
I was
you
ready to give up.
didn't.
That first 24 hours, I was ready to give
Mm.
up, but I just knew I couldn't. I'd got myself out of a ditch before. I might as well try
Mm.
again. So
And the old you would have like
absolutely, I'd have
lingered
stayed
on that,
there.
wouldn't it?
I'd have stayed
Yeah.
there. If I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have known sort of. I think because I was going into, I recognised straight away that I was doing those self-doubts. So, oh, why
Mm.
am I not good enough for this? Why can't I do that? Why can't I do this? And that's when I was like, no, you're going back now,
Mm.
refresh. And
Mm.
I'll tell you what, it was overnight. Overnight, I
Mm.
literally listened to that recording and I woke up next morning and I was positive, Peter. I don't
And
know where it come from.
and what Marissa's talking about is when you work with me, as I said, it's not counselling. We'll do the deep dive session where we will go undercover into your subconscious mind. We'll identify the root cause that's causing you this issue, and then we will eradicate it there and then. And as part of the process, as part of the permanence part of it, I do a bespoke recording there and then while we're in the session. And that will be full of, like, say, for example, your root belief is I'm not good enough. It'll be all full of beautiful affirmations and how amazing you are. But what we also do is some work beforehand to get what would your life be like if you didn't have this issue. So we build that all in. So that's all future pacing, so that because your brain just loves that. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagination, right? So the better your imagination, the more you can get out of your wonderful brain, right? So just stop telling people to stop using their imaginations. Stop crampling those kids' imaginations, right? Let them imaginations grow and grow, so that when you're an adult, you're used to it. And just, as I say, your brain will listen to it. So the recording is pretty amazing, and it's individual. It'll be very bespoke for you. And then because it takes at least 21 days to change a habit, we need to embed that new belief. So we'll reverse that. I'm not enough to I'm amazing, I'm this. But you can do it for a lot longer, and the longer you do it, the better, as Marissa said. But sometimes we need to go again. Sometimes we're like an onion, and we've uncovered some gold. But you sometimes, once you settle down, you need to go again and look at something else and go, do you know what? Now I want to work on my confidence, or now I want to work on my weight, or now I want to work on this. It can be an ongoing, but normally no more than 2 or 3 sessions. So that's what's amazing about it. But Marissa, you only had that one session.
Yeah.
So we're talking a month in total, aren't we? From time you start to the time we finish with the recording. And how can you describe how you transformed in that time?
After the main session, I said to you, I think at the time, I was like, I literally feel like I'm walking out and I feel lighter. I felt like it was just all the rubbish stuff that I was just holding on to. I just sort of like let go and I just released it. And yeah, just over that period of time, I just realized that it's something that you can just overcome, and it is something that you do have to put the time in to do it, and you have to want to do it.
For sure.
And I think at that point I had every reason I needed to push forward and to make those changes. And yeah, I could feel it sort of day by day, just releasing and feeling better and better. Like as the days went on, it was crazy. It was a really weird experience, but a good positive experience. It was nice.
And what I build in, I mean, obviously with you, we were doing it on the side, so to speak, weren't we? Just as auntie to the niece. But when I work with my clients now, I'm very particular about building in that clarity coaching part at the end, because that is so important. You know, I've got many clients now who are telling me that, you know, the actual session was transformational, like you're describing, and immediate. But it's that as your neuro pathways are realigning. So if you imagine, say this pen is the neuro pathway of your I'm not good enough, we took that away and we sowed some seeds, and the recording is making that neuro pathway grow. But that's also sending off messages to all the existing neuro pathways. So your brain's just going, whoa. And it does take a while to settle, and you don't know what you're going to uncover, do you?
No. And I'd probably say it took about 2 weeks to really notice and feel a massive difference. But and that's what I say, by the end of the 21 days, I knew I wasn't quite ready to let go yet. I knew I wasn't quite there. So I was like, well, I'll try it a little bit longer. So I actually tried it for, I think it was another like week to 10 days. I did a little bit extra. And yeah, by that extra time, I felt a lot better than I had done the sort of the week to 10 days before. So I knew I needed it. But as I say, this time that I redid it and I went back and redone it, I literally did the 21 days, and I noticed it within the first day or two. I noticed a complete change, but I think it was just jogging your memory sort of thing.
So I mean, I know your money, so obviously you're going to say this anyway, but what would you say to anybody else who's possibly suffering from something similar, or lack of confidence and belief in themselves? What would you say to them?
I would say, had we been having this conversation 6 months ago, I'd have sat there and said, the things I'm doing now, I'm not going to be able to do. It's not possible for me to do that. I'm no good at that. I'm not going to be happy again. I'm not going to feel good about myself. Like, granted, I've even lost weight in that time. Like, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror at one point. It was awful. But now, like, I stand in front of the mirror. I feel confident. I feel better about myself. I don't sit there and think, oh, you look disgusting. Like, I actually feel more confident looking at myself. I feel confident in myself in regards to my job. And literally, I got the new job, and within 10 days of starting that job, another job opportunity come up where I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's crazy. I was actually approached to be a manager of a local social club that I sometimes help out, and I have helped them out for the last year. And you asked me 6 months ago if I'd have been a manager somewhere, I'd have laughed in your face. I'd have been like, no. But
you do a lot of manifestation though, don't you? Like,
yeah, I do.
Talking to the universe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't sit there and like chat to them like I'm not crazy. But I put out my positive thoughts out, and rather than sitting there going, oh, I'm not going to do that, I'm never going to do that, I sit there and I go, I can do that. Like, I don't sit there and talk to myself, but I have the positive thoughts, and I sit there and I tell my brain that I can do it. And I'd sort of told myself that at some point I want some more responsibility within a job role. Wasn't expecting another job to come through about it, but here we are. Yeah, I was sort of talking about the one I was currently in, but I'm not going to complain. I'm really enjoying doing it, actually. It feels good to have a little bit more responsibility. I like being organised, so organising people and organising money and organising shifts and stuff like that. I'm finding it quite therapeutic in a weird way. But yeah, I like being organised, so it's kind of quite nice. And but yeah, I wouldn't have done it.
I know I'm biased, but I am so proud of you, and it's been such a privilege to be able to help you, because not everyone's got an aunt who's a therapist, have they? So
no,
it's quite handy. And we've always had that great relationship anyway. Before we go though, Marisa, I want to say thank you for doing this, because the other thing that you wouldn't have done would have done one of these for a start. And she's also done me an amazing video that I'll publish shortly as well, testimonial video.
Hide in hibernation for a couple of days when it comes out.
Yeah, I'll leave it a couple of weeks before I post that one. But you would never have done that, would you? Being in front of a camera and talking like you're talking now, very articulating yourself perfectly, and just talking from the heart. So thank you so much for doing that, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having
me. But before we go, do you want to quickly show them a couple of your cards?
Yeah, I do. So I don't think I've got any of the cards in here, but I've got some of the prints that I do. And I mainly do sort of like the portraits and things like that. This is ironic that I landed on this one, actually, because this is my nan and my mum and 2 aunties, ironically. But I do this one in particular, unfortunately, is a memorial one. It's quite sad, obviously, when you go through those things, but it's nice to have sort of things that sort of are memorable to you. I've got a mother and daughter one there.
Amazing.
Sisters. Yeah, I've got an Instagram page as well. I am going to admit I'm terrible at uploading. I do need to be better at it, so I will be better at it. I do need to upload some more bits on there, but obviously we've got Father's Day coming up and stuff like that. So I do cards for occasions. I've done Mother's Day cards, Father's Day cards, birthday cards for children. I did make that, but I can't do that without the help of the ex-mother-in-law.
my doggy on there, so. But I have got a card with that on it though, haven't I?
Yeah,
so.
You have. I did see your card. But yeah,
so
I created it.
So we've got someone's asking what your page is called on Instagram.
It is Mim's personal creation, personal gifts. Sorry, personal.
She doesn't even know. No, Mary. She doesn't even know.
I know. It's where, so we used to be E&M Creations, and obviously when we come apart, so I'm just mixing the two names. I'm just being greedy.
We'll post it for you. So yeah, I think it's on our cover page anyway, but we'll make sure that
it's Mim's personal gifts. So
yeah. But she's very talented. She's very talented. So on that note, my darling, we need to go because that's been just over 20 minutes, if you can believe it.
Like a chat.
Thank you.
We are a nightmare.
We are a nightmare. And thank you for everyone that joined, and anyone who watches the replay. Please get in touch with Marisa if you want any of that artwork done, or if you want to come and work with me. If you think you need to uncover your limiting beliefs that are holding you back so you can become unstoppable, like Marisa and myself, then please message me and get in touch.
Do it.
So thanks again, everyone. Take care. See you soon.
You later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.